LinkedIn doesn't support 60 FPS. Bummer. Okay, thanks for being here. Let's get started. My name is John. I'm a software engineer with about 10 years of experience. Let's ship some features. In theory, what I should be working on is this Hall of Fame, which is the latest feature to do on the roadmap. Here you can see the open source Latterly roadmap, and we have the in progress and Hall of Fame up here at the top. There's a new feature that I want to prioritize, and we'll add it right now. Add from the repository. You can see it is the store. I didn't mean to open that in a new tab. Oopsie. I want to check and add. Okay, I can go ahead and mark this as already in progress. And why can I do that? Because we have created the items here. So I'm currently wearing a purple hoodie. It says latterly.io on the front. On the back, oh, can you see this? It says code is magic. I actually don't know if you can see that. But anyway, it's this metal era hoodie, code is magic right here. So these items, the virtual store exists. This is printful.com. And we will want to connect to the store over API, Printful API. And so you can see it's kind of already in progress. So I haven't written any code in my client, but I created the store on the Printful side. Okay, so here is the user story. This is just a list of all the issues. I think we can close that. Close this. So now we have store at the top of in progress. Close this. Printful React integration. Yeah, I found this really cool, this one. Basically, I want to try to use this. And the question is an open question. Is this its own like repository? Is this its own, like how does this work basically? Or can I integrate this into my existing website? So we might take a micro front end approach where there's like a store website is like its own repo. We might end up doing that. Okay, this one, Hall of Fame. So let's open up VS Code. Here we go. This is cool. All right, so this is not related to Latterly, so I don't need to close it out. Let's go to Latterly. Go to my workspace. Okay, where do I want to go here? I want to go into Latterly. Stop. Would tilting this help at all? Okay, I think that helps a little bit for you there, huh? Collapse some of these. Latterly 3 technically is the current repo. Let's do a git log, just because I haven't been in the code for a while. What was I working on? Init the Hall of Fame page, git fetch origin, git reset hard. Let's see. I kind of want to reset hard on origin, but I don't want to lose if I have any local code. So let's check on that. We go over here. There's a open pull request. This is like the work in progress pull request. Init Hall of Fame. 2 files changed, so it's not a whole lot. So I could just outright pause on this, right? I'm tempted to just outright pause on this. Yeah, so we change the link and then we init the page for that link. I don't think this is done. Let's spin it up and see. But in terms of commits, this is the only commit. And then I think if we go to my local, we will match, which is what I want to verify. init Hall of Fame page. So basically, if I reset hard, I won't lose anything. I can push already up to date, I expect. Yeah, everything up to date. Okay, so we're up to date. And yeah, let's go ahead and step out of this. So I'll check out main. So we're stepping out of that pull request. Everything is up to date with main. Cool. We're going to create a new branch for the store. Let me get the issue number. This is just how I like to name my my branches. So store is 105, and so we'll just call it 105-store. Get branch 105-store. And I can get branch dash capital C, I think, is that right? Get branch by itself to see where I am. No, I'm still on main. Okay, get checkout 105. So if I checkout dash B, it will create it and check it out. If I get branch, it will only create it and not check it out. Now I can get branch to see where I currently am, and you can see the green 105 store queue. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for being here. Okay, so basically we're on the a copy of the main code. We can go ahead and npm run dev. I can open up my localhost. So this is the main branch code, which is equivalent to production. So here we'll go to production laterally.io. This is what production looks like today. By the way, you can sign up. You can sign up for free and then pay what you want, as little as $1 a month, to unlock benefits for yourself and the community. Contributes to the community bounty. Unlocks features like no ads for everyone. Okay. Error, you are not authenticated. So we have this production code. Now let's look at localhost. Looks like the development server is still getting started. Cool, it's pretty much ready now. Yeah, and so it looks the same, right? That's the idea. It's the same. So what do we want to do here? We want to add a store. I think obviously it should be at store. But the question is, do I want to do this within my application or using a micro front-end pattern? So if I do this within my application, we're using Next. So I'll go over to the pages directory. So source pages, and I'll just make a new folder, which is like store, okay? This is what I would prefer to do if possible, because I would like all the code maintained together. But I need to look through this other guy's code to see what the trade-offs are going to be. How compatible are our implementations? That's what I need to assess. If they're extremely incompatible, and it would be difficult for me to port his code into my app, then we will treat the applications separately, and I actually will not change anything in my repository here. I will deploy two applications, and I will set up the next config to tell production that when they request to /store, go to this other code base. And we'll have to figure out if I want to do mono repo or multi-repo. So mono repo, I could have like a folder here, which is like store, and it's outside of the next app, or it can be its own next app. But this, you can see laterally 3, I have package JSON at the top level, and this is the way that Blitz.js likes to organize things. So this architecture is basically due to Blitz.js, the folder structure. It's not really friendly to multi-repo. You can do source. There's like one source. There's like one source. I could do it, but it could get wonky very, very fast. Could get wonky very fast. So what I would prefer to do is port the code over, and I think I'll just opt for, I will probably opt for multi-repo if they don't comport. Okay, so let's check it out. This other guy's code, this is the guy, headlessdropshipping.com, has this really cool, we can look at the demo real quick. So this is kind of what it looks like. I mean, it's kind of vanilla, right? But that's, as a developer, that's a good thing. The reason it's good to have a vanilla skeleton like this is I can style it however I want. And it's easier to start from a relatively blank slate and then customize it rather than getting this like really heavily designed site and needing to strip that out and then put my own design. So this may not look super visually impressive, but that's actually a good thing because it's sort of minimal and it's easy to build upon. Okay. And the cart is the key reason that I need a starter. If it was just a matter of embedding a single checkout without a cart, I could just put a Stripe form. The reason that is not ideal is because the Stripe form doesn't have a cart. And so on production today, I have, you can like leave a tip. You can click here and leave a tip and it'll take you to Stripe checkout. But this is not a cart. So why do I want a cart? I'll tell you the reason. I want to be able to do things like, if you have over $100 in your order, you get free shipping. You see how I would only be able to do that for like really expensive singular items, and it wouldn't be ideal. It wouldn't be ideal because if someone wanted to order an expensive singular item and a cheap secondary item, they'd have to pay shipping on the cheap secondary item. But I want to give them free shipping on all the items if they go over that 100 mark. So I want the benefit to apply to a cart, not just an item. When you have something like that, that's a signal that you want to implement a cart. And I don't want to implement my own cart. Stripe, maybe you should just use Stripe itself for carts. Whatever. I don't want to get into the comparison of all the possible like vendors. Basically, like, let's just go with this, even though it's actually more complicated than this, but let's just go with this. This guy implemented Snipcart, so let's use Snipcart. How about that? I assure you it's not outrageously expensive. I looked into it. It's actually a really cool tool. Okay. One-click deploy. Ooh, that's something I missed. Deploy your storefront in one easy click. Okay, how? See, the one-click deploy makes me want to say, like, I don't even need to bother about integrating the code. I can just deploy it at this endpoint. All right, let's go to the GitHub. This is not getting me exactly what I want. Okay, this is his GitHub. Headless dropshipping starter. I think this is the thing. Headless dropshipping. Oh, get the code. Headless dropshipping starter. Okay, these are the same URL. So here is the code. We saw the demo. The demo looks cool. And let's poke around a little bit. Renovate.json does not seem familiar. Command C. I'll go over here to ChatGPT. In a JavaScript or TypeScript application, what is the purpose of renovate.json? There may not be a generic purpose. Okay. GPT is really good at recognizing moderately niche idioms, so that as a person who's been coding for 10 years, I'm still not familiar with this. But it's in GPT's training data, so it knows about it. Okay, so it's like a dependabot, basically, for dependency maintenance. That's not particularly interesting. I think that would be fine to integrate or even ignore. Basically, I could just ignore that. Tailwind, we're going to integrate Tailwind. This should be easy enough. tsconfig, cool. We're TypeScript. This is easy enough. Next, we're both using Next. All right. Next, SEO config. This is interesting. How old is this thing? I think the SEO config spec may have changed, but that's fine. Funding, whatever. So everything so far is relatively easy to integrate. By the way, full screen on YouTube, link is in my bio. Okay, so let's dive into source. We have components, context, hooks, lib, pages. So we're using the pages directory that is compatible. App, wishlist provider. Ooh, interesting. So you can see this implementation is wrapping the entire site. We're in the _app TSX. Let's look in the document. Okay, the document is pretty pure. This is all, okay, well there's a snip cart, this thing, which looks a little bit weird, but that's not a big deal. If this is about as gross as the code gets, then it's not a big deal at all, right? It's isolated to its own block. That could be extractable. You can make like a snip cart component. So there is a little bit of mutation of the document file. Snip cart up top as well. App and CDN. So there's manipulation of the document and the app files both. This basically makes snipcart a global. This basically makes snipcart a global that's going to wrap my entire application. So the idea that it's isolated to the /store, I would have to use a micro front end or like repository segregated multi-application approach instead of integrating the code directly into my application. If I integrate the code directly in my application, I have to respect what he did here. And that would basically wrap all of my code with this stuff. I'm not immediately ruling it out, but it does seem to be a downside. It would be nice if I could contain his logic only to the store. And so that's a significant point to consider. And a significant reason that we might want to keep these applications separate, basically. Proniate, what are we working on today? We're thinking about making a latterly store for printfuls to like order merch like jackets and hats. This hat I'm wearing, you come over to the YouTube, it's full screen, you can see everything, and you can see the hat I'm wearing. It says I code and caffeinate. So you can order that on the store. Jay says, go ahead, genius, love to see it. Thank you so much, Jay. Love the support. Beckett, HTML going crazy. Yup. So this is React, TSX files, but yeah, it's HTML-like syntax. HTML going crazy. What about the API? We have the snipcart and products. Let me collapse this. So the API is not crazy. It's two folders. It's two folders. which really kind of makes me want to adopt it. You know, this would be nice for an island architecture. Prony8, wow, I can't wait to see it. I'm currently working on a fashion store. All right. Hope it goes well. This is using React Query. That is a big negative. Okay, this is actually a big reason not to integrate the code. It's using React Query. Blitz has its own query system, and we don't want to mix query systems. We really don't want to do that. Okay, so I think we should treat these repositories separately. So let's move forward with that. Let's check out the README. Hopefully it explains how to deploy this one in isolation. Build your own headless e-commerce. I want to use it as a template. Perfect. I'm gonna rip it. This is an old term talking about like when you would rip and burn a CD, you would basically copy it and make your own. So GitHub has made this into a first-class feature. It used to be that I would have to go to code and like download the zip of the code and then create my own repo and then upload the zip. And I would do an initial commit which said like rip, which indicates that I didn't really write this code. I basically brought it over, hopefully from an open source location, but I assure you some people did otherwise. What's the difference between their query systems? They're using React Query. So here we can go in the package JSON, and then Blitz.js has its own query system. So I'll Command F, look for the query. Ooh, I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Yo, that's actually wild. Why am I not seeing React Query here? Is he using it and he never installed it in the package JSON file? Is it included in one of these? Maybe it's included in printful request. I'm not sure. This thing might not work when we rip it. That's kind of crazy. Let's look in the package JSON. Here's ARIA query, exo object query, ES query. Hold on, let me go back. Something strange is amok. So we're looking at source, we're in the index file, right? Pages, app. Where did I see the query? Oh, it was in the API. Okay, we go to the API. Request.query. Oh, this is just the next. I think I was too hasty, y'all. This is just the next API request query. This is not React Query. I would guess React's query system is built in. No, it's not, but Next.js does have one. React doesn't, but Next.js does. So this printful.get, okay. I was thinking printful.get is a query, but it's actually just a method in the printful client. Good call, Samuel. Thanks for being here. I don't do much web stuff. Hey, you still had a good call. Is it an open source or are you collaborating with someone? Both. So this is an open source project and it's not mine, and I'm basically going to use it. So I'm kind of collaborating with someone else. Okay. So it is still different than the Blitz.js approach. Here's Blitz.js, by the way. This is interesting. It's different, but it's not a new dependency. So does that change the equation? So here's the type safe API layer that Blitz uses, and that is different than the next layer. Quick reminder, full screen on YouTube, link is in the bio. Also streaming to Twitch if that's more your speed. So it gets the variance, it gets the result. Where does the image come into play is one thing that I want to know. Here's the ID, the retail price. Here's the product. So this is like an order webhook. Where are the images for the products? Command F, IMG, no, IMAG. Okay, here's the next image. Active variant file preview URL. This is, I think, the hardest part of Printful integration. And one of the reasons that I wanted to look into using a starter. So how does he get this thing? Active variant, okay. Variants in product. So the product just comes in straight away, and this comes through the API, I think. Product comes from here. Is it? Let's see. Result. Result.retail price. Strange. So we send ID res.status200.json. And I guess we're sending this to the client. So we're basically only sending it has its own URL. So we're basically only sending the ID and the price to the client. And then the other data is obtained some other way. Where is it obtained? I would have thought we actually send the product data here. It's interesting to me that this is called wish list rather than like cart. You know what's growing on me, dude? To be honest with you, I might just use this as a reference application and implement snipcart and printful API myself. If that's all there is to it, but we need to wrap the whole app with the provider. I don't think we do. I don't think we do. We can wrap only the store page. We can do that. I'm doing this today, actually. I have a context provider that's only provided to part of the app. I don't remember exactly where that is. Let's see. My context. Oh. Was it in the Hall of Heroes and that's why it's not here? I don't think so. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, I'm thinking of a different application. I did this in a different application. That's fine. I know the pattern's safe. Let's go back to his demo. I'm trying to figure out if this is a genuine wish list or if like his store, he just like calls it wish list. Let's go back to the demo. So what am I looking for? Add item, remove item. I'm just looking for a wish list, really. Do you actually have a wish list? Oh, it's this like button is your wish list. Okay. That's a really cool feature, man. Can I share my wish list? I can like send my wish list to my mom. This feels not necessary. In my use case, a wish list. Okay. Let me add it as an issue and then we can backlog it. Let's see. Do I even want this? Do I even want to create it as an issue? Like, no. No, I don't actually want a wish list. I don't actually want a wish list. In terms of sale, this is just a static page, about page, whatever. It's just a static page. That's easy. What is this? Sign in. I already have sign in. So the cart is the only thing. So it feels like overkill to like have this whole app and then rip out the wish list, which is actually most of the bespoke logic is wish list logic. It seems like the store API is basically like we don't need to code it. It's basically encapsulated in snipcart and printful API. So if it's well encapsulated over there, this thing needs to actually make a URL call, I think. If it's well encapsulated by printful and snipcart already, I don't need this guy's app other than for reference, which is a great reference, don't get me wrong. Super useful. Use snipcart count, use wishlist state. My big question is how is the component getting the image? So if I go to the component, if I go to this product, it wants to take the image out of the current variant. So here's variance. Variance equals product. Product probably from product grid, right? Okay, so here's the product grid. Product grid takes products. Who is using this product grid? This is what I need to figure out. Who's using this product grid? I'm not seeing how this could get populated without making a call to an API. Printful client. Whoa, this is very well hidden. Calculate taxes, whatever. I can grab these utilities if I need to. That's fine. Hooks. Whatever. I don't need this use local storage. I don't think I need these. Snipcart, I probably do want this, but it's not the thing that I'm looking for at the moment. What I'm looking for at the moment is, bro, where's this grid? Is it here? Okay. So here, just on the index page. And I send you products, and these products come from, oh, is it static props? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah. This is so smart and easy. If we can just await on the Printful client, look at this. Static props, we just await on the Printful client, and it magically gets the image on the server side. Sheesh. That's a dope API if it's this easy, to be honest with you. So they ship the image in the Printful API. I don't need to make a distinct call for it. That's nice, dude. Let's get it. I'm not going to put this in my index, right? I'm going to have a store index. Probably a lot of this I can take and put in a store index file instead of the root index file. Let's get coding. Let me switch my shit into standing mode. Here we go. Put my desktop in standing mode, or my laptop. All right. I'm gonna switch my camera as well. Bam. What's up? Ooh. Cool. So I have this like whole other monitor that I'm not using. Where's VS Code? VS Code's over here. And what I want to do is I want to make my store. I want to make my store page. So we're coming over here, source pages, and I'm going to make a new folder. I could do this the Blitz way. Let's think quickly about the pros and cons of the Blitz way. So if I use Blitz code gen and I say Blitz G and I say store, it's going to create a DB store entity. Do I want that? I don't think I know. I don't think I know. So one answer is, in the short term, I don't need to do that. But then what about retrofitting? Would it be easier to do it now than to retrofit it? How would retrofitting work? What would I want to combine is really just the following. You are a Latterly user, and I can attribute your purchases to that user. I do want to do that. The reason I want to do that is eventually your subscription itself to Latterly could be handled through Snipcart rather than through Stripe, possibly. And also just things like earning points. We want to be able to attribute the purchase to you. Can I do this without a DB entity, like a new DB entity? So I already have users and their emails and stuff. I mean, if you're making a purchase with the same email address, that's bindable. we're going to want to make sure that you're logged in to use the store. Is that true? So, okay, so the question is like, do I want to support guest checkout? If you're already logged in, I can already bind the purchase to you. If you're already logged in, I already know who you are. What if you're not logged in? Yeah, I mean, if you're not logged in, it's fine. You can still make a purchase, but I'm not going to attribute it to you. You're not going to get points or whatever. Maybe I think that's probably fine, right? You only get points if you're like a logged in user, basically. That works for me. You have to be logged in to access the store. Boom, executive decision. We can do guest checkout as a feature in the future if we want to. So for now, I don't need any new database entities because I'm assuming you're already logged in. So in that case, I don't want to do this the Blitz way because it really doesn't give me any benefit and it just creates a bunch of extraneous entities that I don't want. So I'll make store. Here we'll create the index file, index.tsx. Okay. Let me just take this guy's store basically. Copy all this. Open the raw in a new tab. Command A, C. We're gonna hover down here. I can basically take this over to GPT and say, hey, look at my other page, look at this page. Can you update the Tailwind styles basically? I may ask it to do that. Lodash shuffle, I don't need shuffle at all. I don't care if the item order is shuffled, and if it is shuffled, I can write a quick shuffle utility myself. That would be a cool thing to do in the future. You can basically, there's like an ordering bias where like the first item on the page gets sold more, and then when you're analyzing, you're like, do people actually like this product more, or are they just buying it because it's the first one there? So you want to randomize the order so that you can actually determine like which are the better products. That's like way too deep right now. Like I don't care about that detailed A/B testing analysis right now. And if I was going to do it, I wouldn't do it with Lodash. Okay, so we want this printful client. Let's go grab that. He's going to use a lib folder. I think that's fine. Why not core though? This really isn't a core concern. Store is like its own concern. So the printful, okay. It makes sense to use lib because it's like a third party. It also makes sense to potentially use a store feature folder. I'm going to go for that. I don't really like the abstraction of like grouping all the libraries together. Like what if I had 10 different features and they depended on different third-party libraries? Why would I want to like smush all the libraries into one library folder? I would rather have the portability of the ability to drag the feature, like the store, just drag my store to a new app, and now my app has a store and it comes with its libraries and I don't drag in the other libraries. So the feature-wise portability to me is much more important than squishing the libraries together. The only reason I would think that you would want to do that is if you have like a build need. Like you need to treat, for build, like code build and deploy purposes, you need to treat library code differently. Which I don't need to do that in this case. So I'm not going to go for that. We're going to have a store feature folder. So right click source and I say store. And so then the store can have the printful client. Okay. Do I want to class these as components, queries, mutations, or other? No, this is not. It could be like a utils. I don't think I folder my utils. I think I just sometimes have like a standalone utils file in this app. So like schemas are standalone. Okay. So I don't need a folder for that. It'll just be standalone. It's like basically a utility file. I could put a lib folder there under store. I mean, maybe that is fine. This works for me. Did I already paste it? Let me make sure I pasted it. So here's the index. I already pasted it. We got here, we're changing lib printful client. We're changing that to store printful client. I'm also not crazy about the double dots. Let me look over here. Okay, I guess, okay, fine. I'm doing the double dots elsewhere, so consistency wins. I might have to double up on that. So I'm here, I go up a level, and then I'm at the level of pages. If I go up another level, yeah, this doesn't seem right. Something's not right here. Let me go to a page that uses, here, let me delete this context, move to trash. A page that uses one of these external, like the checklist form. Oh, by the way, suspense is not used there. Let's get rid of that. Command-Shift-F, checklist form. And how do I import it? From source. So I'm not using the double dots. Good. I like that more. So sometimes I'm using the relative path, and the case for the relative path seems to be when I'm within when I'm within the same, how do you call this thing? Directory substructure. Like if I'm importing a component from pages to pages, current checklist name, if this was exported, as one example. Or if I'm in like checklist form component, if there is a sibling component that's inside of this checklist thing and I don't go over to the pages thing. That's basically the rule. Okay, so here we're exiting pages. Christina Bibbo? Not sure if I'm saying that right. Only one here. What's up? Thanks for joining. Here. And I want to import the printful this way. Okay. Source store printful client. What are you doing? I am building a store. An online store where I can sell, like this hoodie that I'm wearing. Gonna sell this hoodie and some other stuff. Okay. So we'll import it this way. It's still red because the file is empty. So let's go grab this code. We want to go to the printful client. That's going to be under lib and the reference application lib printful client. Here we go. And this is all there is. Super easy. Grab this. VS. Now printful request needs to be installed. I think this is something to install off of npm. Let's go check the package.json file. Okay. Yep. So it's a runtime dependency. So I will kill my server, control C. Oh, how about command C? Nope, the other control C. It's weird to me when the right and left controls do different things. Oh. Am I using yarn or npm right now? Let's make sure. My log file is a package log. So npm I save printful request. All right, so it's saved over here. I mean, we can double check the log file, but yeah, it's fine. So here we are going to chore printful request. Make sure I'm still on the right branch. This will initialize our pull request. So we're going to commit that. We're going to push. And let's go to GitHub. Oops, not you. Closing this, closing this, closing this, closing this. And here is where I'm expecting to make a new pull request. Usually GitHub will say like, here was a recent push. Do you want to make a pull request out of it? I'm surprised that didn't happen. Git log -1. It looks like my upstream is set to main, so that's bad. Let me check. Package JSON. Printful. Wow. Okay, so we just pushed straight to main. That's bad. How do I fix that? Git push origin. Head. What is my branch name? 1.0 something. 105-store. This might not work. Okay, and now it says you can make a pull request. Okay, well, not really much point now since I just pushed to main. So we'll do one more commit and then that'll kick off the pull request. No need to roll back or anything. That was like a harmless push, but in general, like, that's bad. We can push this like chore or fix, however you want to characterize it. Chore rm unused import. So if I refresh this page, it still says there's nothing to compare. I just pushed to main again, didn't I? Git log. So I need to set my upstream. This is super unusual. I normally don't have to do this. I think it happened when I clicked the push here, because that was my first remote push, and somehow it like auto bound main, which is like a terrible practice. Okay, so I want to git set. Let's git -h. Git set my upstream, something like that. All right, let's ask GPT. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want it, like using Git, I want to set the origin, or I want to set my local branch foo to track an origin branch also called foo. What's the syntax? Ashraf, thanks for the likes. Set upstream, this is the thing. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, so we're not actually doing foo, we're doing 105-store. 105-store. Okay. So now let me git push, git log -3, and we can see the unused import, the printful request, and init public profiles, which is back on main. Okay, well, I guess they're all on main now. Anyway, you can see from this piece that now this commit, so what this means is it means this commit is located on my local 105 store on origin main and origin 105 store. Origin is over on GitHub. And so it's in all three places now. So there's still nothing to pull request because the main branch already has that code that I just did, that chore that I just did. Oh, my back kind of feels crummy. Okay, so we have the printful client right here. Let's close others. We have this index page. Let's get rid of the issues here. So here is the, by the way, it shouldn't complain about this anymore because this totally exists now. It's just complaining because it's twice. All right, cool. Command-Shift-P, sort imports. Did that do anything? Oh, just the top two. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's go get the product grid. Okay, source components product grid. So we'll grab this. And throw it in the same place basically. So source store components dot sorry. And then this is product grid. We use the title case .tsx because it's a TypeScript React component. It's importing from local product. Let's go grab that. Those two sibling files are likely committable. And we're going to edit this one because we don't want the wish list basically. Variant picker. We need the variant picker. All right, so let's grab that. Trying to minimize these commits, but sometimes you have an irreducibly complex commit. So basically, this is going to be the product, right? Product.tsx. What is an irreducibly complex commit? It means everything in the file has to go or it doesn't work. Sometimes you can still do that, right? Like I could just commit the variant picker by itself, unused. It would be unused. And you might say, this doesn't like add any features, right? Like what's the point? I could just do that just to keep my commit small. Or I could commit it at the same time as the product. And then you would say, well now like the product isn't used anywhere. What was the point? And it's like, the point is I don't just want to commit 1,000 files at the same time. That's basically the point. 3 files actually doesn't bug me at all. I'm completely unbothered by committing 3 or 4 files in one commit. But if you're looking for ways to break up your commits, you can do it. In fact, I think we'll probably go ahead and do that. It shouldn't break the build. This variant picker, and we can see that it's not depending on anything else. So this is a leaf node. Other things depend on it, but it doesn't depend on anything. So we can commit this one by itself. This will be the variant picker.tsx. Okay. It's kind of useless right now, you know? It doesn't do anything right now. Class name flexGrow should be updated to grow. Well, let's update it. Looks good to me. So here I'm going to stage the variant picker by itself. Just call this variant picker. Or yeah, variant picker for printful product variants. What is a variant? You see how this jacket is purple? You might want a black one. Like there's various colors. Those are all variants in Printful. By the way, those actually exist. You can get the jacket in different colors. You can also, in theory, not in my actual store, in theory you could have like the same jacket, but it could like say different things right here. And those could be variants. Mine all just say laterally. Thanks for the likes, Lou. Thanks for being here. If you go to YouTube, link is in the bio, you can see the full screen. This will also be a saved stream. So we got the variant picker for Printful product variants. Let's commit that. Push this, and this time I should be able to see a diff between my GitHub branch and main. Should be able to see that this time. Let's go take a look. So here, there you go. Compare and pull request. And this is things GitHub does. It knows the difference is off by one commit, so it interprets that commit and it turns it into the pull request title. I actually don't want to use that title because my pull request is for more than this single component. In enterprise coding, you might have a pull request, which is just one component. There's good reasons for that. Basically, you don't want to put too much stuff in your production code base. So we talked about keeping commits small, but in an enterprise code situation, you also want to keep your whole pull requests small. That's a little bit more flexible in open source, in particular when it's the product I maintain. Lou, gotcha, same name. Yep, that's what it is. But I'm going to rename it because I'm going to have more features going into the same pull request. So I'm going to call this store. I'll say one closes 105 store. Here I'll say variant picker, and then I'll add more product grid. And I can update this description in the future if I want to. For now, we'll go ahead and create the pull request. It's not going to be merged yet. You can see it's passing the build. So this is next Vercel, built it. I can go look at the preview environment. It's not being used anywhere, right? This thing that I just built, I haven't installed it on an index page. So this thing is going to look like prod looks like right now. It looks the same as production. But what we did prove is like, hey, this thing that I just made, the variant picker, it compiles. It doesn't have any type errors. It doesn't have any build errors. But we mostly were already confident about that because there are no lint errors on this file. All right, so here, this one does have lint errors, right? So let's check these out. Components, variant picker. Like, why is this mad about the sibling file called variant picker? It's right there. Cannot find it. Oh, we need to export it. Export default const, it says. So it is being exported. Export default variant picker. I don't know why. I don't know why it's mad about that. I do typically... I do typically not use the default exporter though. In this case I do because I have to, because Blitz wants me to. But here, this is what I really like to do, export const like that. So that'll probably fix the issue, although I will admit that I'm not really sure why it's having an issue at all. Variant, did I misspell variant? Variant picker. I'm questioning everything right now, to be honest with you. Okay, so here is the variant picker. And let me get rid of this default line at the bottom, and instead we'll export it in line, export const variant picker. It's showing up in IntelliSense right there. Like, what's the deal? I think TypeScript is just freaking out. Yeah, this is just like... Hi.
How much longer you got?
I don't know, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay.
What are you doing? That was just a TypeScript caching error, I think. So here, let's undo it. Undo, undo, undo. See, and now it works. It was just a file caching issue. Whoa, oops. Part of me is like, hey, leave it the way the other guy wrote it. It's not worth spending time on. This is fine. So, wishlist, I don't want the wishlist stuff. So we're getting rid of that. And now we get to get rid of this stuff. Add to wishlist, we can get rid of that. By the way, look at his functions. These are great. These are like clean, easy to read one-liners. We love to see it. I just don't need it. Add to wishlist, probably the whole button should go away, huh? By the way, that's a 25-line HTML segment or like React fragment. That should be its own component. That should be its own component. And it would also isolate that wish list logic, wouldn't it? So let's go down. Here's the button. I deleted the end tag of the button as well. Yeah, okay, cool. This is talking about the flex. Yeah, so let me get rid of the word flex. It's just an outdated, like an older version of Tailwind terminology kind of thing. Not a big deal at all. Super easy fix. Okay, now this thing is looking good. That's about it. Get rid of some of these things that I don't think I need. Empty lines and stuff. Some line breaks are good for readability, and then some I think are just unnecessary, and it can actually hurt readability if you're making me scroll. The types need to be improved here, whatever. This is fine. Okay, so the product is looking good, and how about this product grid? Cannot find it. You know what, dude? Get better at finding things. Is this one declared as a default as well? Yeah, export default product. Let me delete it and then make it find it, and maybe it's smarter now. Yeah. Or its corresponding type declarations. Okay. It's like not typed over here, right? So import the React functional component. Name is going to be a string, I think. I'm making a bit of a leap there, but like I don't really feel bad about it. Name variants. I don't know the type for variants. It's some sort of list. Yeah, let me type it like this. Product is product props. I don't need to know the whole thing. I can do a partial type. I just want to make the compiler happy. I could any type it, but I don't really want to. Whoa, hold on. GitHub Copilot just came in clutch. Look at that. Apparently GitHub Copilot already knows the Printful API. Or it read through the code in here and figured it out. Nice. That was a rare GitHub Copilot W. Active variant is possibly undefined. Okay. First variant is possibly undefined. Yeah, so if you have no variants, then I want you to return null. The React hook is called conditionally. Okay. Okay. We can fix that momentarily. So here, we just need to handle this differently. First variant, variants. So this order of operations is strange. So why am I defaulting it to the first variant? Oh, because I only want to keep the ID in state. I don't want to keep the whole object in state is what's going on. Okay. So there's the possibility that variance is length. So one style is special style. There's the possibility that variance is length less than 1. And if that's the case, then then I want to return null even earlier, even before identifying first variant. Where's first variant identified? I don't like this. I don't like this syntax right here. I want the 0 index. Okay, so first variant. So now it's still mad. It's still going to be mad that I'm calling it conditionally, right? So the first variant, we can do this after. We can do this after. Okay. So technically we could have an external ID that's undefined here. Now it's going to be string or undefined. Yep, that's fine. And we'll just handle the undefined case right now. Okay. Cool. Does that make sense, what we just did? We moved our guard down in the logic, so we're guarding later. We're guarding later so that we can satisfy the React condition that you don't call useState conditionally. You always call it. So we're always calling it even if the input is undefined. We're still calling the hook. Okay, what about active variant here? Active variant is possibly undefined. We can move this even later, right? So instead of checking if the ID is undefined, let's check if the entity is undefined. Okay. And this would still work because we would loop through variants. I mean, unless variance is not a list, but we've assured the thing that variance is always going to be a list. So there is still an error vector if that is incorrect. But conditional incorrectness of the type, there's no error vector anymore, which is super dope. It's super Liddy McGee. Active variant file is possibly undefined. Let's check that out. Is it though? What if the active variant file is undefined? What would that mean? That would mean, hey, printful told me I have a variant, but when I tried to get the, it doesn't have a preview image. That's what it would mean. Okay, so we don't need to nullify the whole product in that case. We can we could have a default preview image would be one way to handle it. We should totally do that. We should totally do that. We should totally have a default product preview. So how do I make a default product preview? I can go create the whole image right now. It feels like a lot of work. Maybe that's what I need to do though. So for now, we will nullify the whole thing if it doesn't have a product preview. That feels like bad. Feels bad basically. But practically speaking, all the printful stuff should have previews. Practically speaking, if we're talking about a product set more expansive than printful, including like my custom products, it does make sense to have a default. So I want to expand that more here. Let me backlog that one. More or like, so this would be non-printful products. E.g., I can sell a Latterly expert session, tips, subscriptions, IRL tickets, whatever, using Snipcart, but not through Printful. At the moment, the main issue with this is the lack of default product preview images. Yeah. They might need their own product component. Or we might be able to reuse, to modify the existing product component. Cool. So that's in the backlog. We can add it to the to-do over here. I'm not going to really prioritize that one because I think the Hall of Fame and the shout-out rotation are more important. But it will be on the roster after that. Okay, so here is our store pull request. And for now, we are just returning in this case. So here, I can ensure that the variant this is fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, we'll just guard on it separately. That's fine. I was thinking of ways to consolidate the null returns, but this is totally fine. We don't need to consolidate them really. All right, cool. So if the product doesn't have a preview image, we just don't list the product. And practically, we're only supporting Printful right now, and they should have previews, so it's fine. So we come over here, and we are staging the product, and therefore also now we should be able to do the product grid, even though VS Code is being in a silly, goofy mood. Store, components, product grid. It's relative. It's right there. It's right there, homie. Trust me. Trust. This product grid. Let's just do that for now. So the feat is product and grid. Now this index page, store index. We're going to need the printful API key. This will be a new env value. Okay. Let me go get one of them while I'm at it. So I'm going to take this off screen. Also take my printful page off screen. I'm going to settings. Account settings? No. That was the wrong place to go. What about store settings? That makes more sense, doesn't it? Store settings. Yeehaw. Store name. Website. Yep, there it is. API. Okay, we're making access to this more. It won't be possible to generate new keys. Instead, you'll access using private tokens and public apps. Okay. So here, you can see this. I'll show you this. This is like a notification from Printful. I mean, I guess it's a good thing I didn't try to use the guy's app literally because it's a little bit dated at this point. I mean, the Tailwind syntax was fine because his app was pinned to an old Tailwind, so it would have been internally consistent and worked anyway. But his API approach was like, it's outdated now, it seems. Okay. So this is what the Printful developers page looks like, and I'm just going to create an app and a token. I think the create an app should be publicly disclosable. Laterally, 3 app. Laterally 3 app. Sorry, I'm not a smart guy with a lot of ideas. Access level, store level access, URLs. Enter all the URLs needed to install your app. That's a weird terminology, if you ask me. Install my app. It says enter all the URLs needed to install your app. Enter the domains where the user will be directed when the app is installed. Only the domains entered below will work. A wildcard can be used as a subdomain. Okay, so I think that would be laterally.io. Going over here to the Printful developer docs. Let me show you what I have, by the way. App URL. I'm not sure if that should say /store. I'm not sure if we need the HTTPS prefix. They had some examples. You can see in these examples, there's no HTTPS prefix, so I'm not using it either. This install word is throwing me. Public app installation starts with a user redirection to an app-specific installation URL. I feel like what's going on is they'll log into my website, they'll submit a payment or something, and they'll be forwarded here, and then they're coming back to my website. whatever. If it lands me at the wrong site, I can just update the app. That's fine. I'm just trying to figure out if it should be /store or not. I'm probably going to get it wrong either way I go. All right, whatever. So let's go with this. Scopes, view orders of the authorized store. Do I want you to be able to view orders? I mean, I don't know. If Printful had its own checkout experience, I would let them handle it, but I don't think they do, right? Definitely need the products. Files, I think we need that. View and manage store products. I don't need manage products. I don't need that. View the webhooks, like maybe, sure. View orders. Are you going to come to Laterally for like a refund? I don't know. Let's see. Are you going to come to Laterally for what? You're going to come over there. You're going to look at the products, add it to your cart, buy. You're going to need to see your own receipt before and after. Does manage include create? We definitely want to create. Yeah, I'm going to go with this. Invalid app URL. All right, let me give it the HTTPS. :// That worked. Okay, so now I have all the secrets. So let me go to my... I have the .env file, which I check in, which is like a template file. And then I have .env.local, which I don't check in, which is super duper top secret. And this is going to be called Printful API key. And now I'm going to change it instead to be called Printful app secret key. Okay, so I added my secrets over there, close that. You can see I call it Printful app secret key now. And I will need to add this onto the Vercel platform, like in the web UI as well, or through the command line, which I did not do, to get prod to work. But I just want to see those products show up locally. Then I'll be good for today. Okay, so locally, what are we doing? Locally, we're going to declare the Printful client. So here's the apps and the tokens. The tokens thing, I don't really understand that either. What am I doing with a token? Get access to your Printful Store API. Okay. Authentication. This kind of seems like a bummer. If the Printful API, it looked so good in the guy's code, and if it's all changed, because now it's like telling me the URL that I need to make requests to and stuff. So this stuff doesn't work anymore. It's going to be a bummer. Printful request. Okay, so this guy made his own request library in addition to the starter. It's the same guy, no trab. Okay. October 5th, 2022. That may be new enough. Let's see. About the Printful API. I don't know. I can't tell. I think we're going to test it and see, basically. Okay, so we got this Printful. Let me chore that. Here's the index file. It's not quite ready to go. I think probably we'll get to the index file, and then whether or not it works, we're going to wrap up the stream. So here's the product grid. We want to eliminate this. This is not the import syntax that I want. Eliminate that, hover, quick fix, import it this way. That looks great. What about the Printful product types? Cool, I think I used the term schema. So community, checklist items, whatever. Checklist schemas. That's not quite it either. Printful product. Let's go take a look at what he's got. I would normally keep it with the query or the mutation, but he's not using React Query. Okay, so yeah, maybe I do make a dot types or like a types file. That would be fine. I think this is fine. Here, let me grab this types file. I'll put it under my store. So over here, we got the store, make a new file. Oh, I don't want it under pages. I don't want it under pages. I want it outside of the pages directory. So we go to the other store. Here we'll do a new file, which is types.ts. My other ones are calling it schemas, but that's a little bit different because it's Zod validated. So let me see. When I use this this one, for example, when I use it, I import it over here. And how does the type get set? The type is just like automatically set by the Zod schema, basically. So I'll leave it as types. I could call it schema for consistency, but it's not quite accurate because it's not a Zod schema. But the Zod schema captures the type effectively as well. We got the store types here. Commit that one by one. Why do we do these little commits? If in a commercial setting, it makes peer review easier, but that's actually not my purpose. My purpose is I want the build to run and pass. And if a build fails, I don't want it to fail on 13 files and now I need to pick through which one was the problem child. if I'm doing like one or two at a time, it's very easy to go, oh, okay, the problem's like right there. See my point? Okay, so we got these types, printful product. Import that. And so the format variant name we need to grab. This guy put it under lib. Format variant name, here we go. Got this printful client. I'm tempted to turn this into like a generic utils and the printful client is just one more store util. Let me do that. So store utils. I need to go find Command Shift F printful dash client. Here it is. Who was previously using the printful client, and they're going to now import from utils. Okay. And then format variant name can also come from that same place. Samuel Torres, hey John, I can't hear you on my end. Oh no! Bummer. Why is that the case? Anyway, it says it's good, even though it's not working. Test, 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 test. That was me. Oh, okay. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it anyway, because if you were right, it's better to overreact than underreact, right? But look at this import React. Good React joke there. We love to see it. Okay. Now this file is free of obvious errors. There could still be some errors, but they're not obvious, right? Now I should be able to npm run dev, spin up my localhost, and see an index. I don't know. It should at least say all products. That's a text literal. I should be able to see that. I don't know that I will be able to see any actual products because of the whole API key situation ship. But I can take that offline and we'll get that done later. My goal is to make sure that the page is visible itself. So here's the local host. Let's refresh that. What are we working on today? I see printful, so I'm assuming a store. Yep, nailed it. Exactly. So we're integrating this guy's headless dropshipping starter. So here's his demo. And we basically want a page like this inside of Latterly. So where there's going to be like Latterly and then /store is going to be a thing. So that's what we're working on. Okay, looks like some stuff started to do the thing. Okay, so here we are, and I want to see store. Access token provided is invalid. Bummer. So here I am in the store. Static props here is erroring. Let me do this. Products is going to be an empty array. And we will comment this. Got all products. Okay. I could put some mock data in here. Whatever. I think we're in a good spot. Basically, the issue is going to be the API. So how do I want to handle that? If the API token is invalid, I don't necessarily want the end user, like I don't want the end user to see that, right? So let's do this again. It's going to say that there's a token issue. I've been working on Restream on LinkedIn as well. I don't think I ever seen you streaming on LinkedIn, only on TikTok. Did I have any form of motivation on that move? Also, what are you using to stream? The quality is much better than when I stream. I'd like to use the setup you're using. Oh, awesome. Check out my YouTube or TikTok. Just today, I published a video on my setup. So I got like a few monitors, this pluggable dock, Hyperion mic, Sony A7 Mark IV. I'm actually not using it right now, although I have used it on and off in the stream. It overheats after like, I guess 45 minutes of use. So right now I'm using the Mac 1080p camera. OBS is the software layer. And just some lighting, you know, got the ring light, some attention to lighting. Are you using OBS? Yep. Okay, so refresh one more time. Why am I not seeing that error anymore? That's kind of strange. I expected to see an error. Oh, because I didn't save it. That was boneheaded. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so this shows up. Is this just because I'm in developer mode? I'm curious what the end user is actually going to see here. And maybe the widescreen is making it hard to read my code or something. I'm not sure. The quality of my stream isn't great. Are you on Restream Pro? Yeah. Which one am I on? Let's see. I think I'm on the standard plan. Just checked. I'm on the standard plan. Okay. I want to see what happens when it's built and deployed, not just developer mode. So I'm going to go ahead and commit it with the error. So let me undo this. So the feature is the store index. Commit that, push that. The build might break on that. I'm actually going to take care of this offline, but just to let you know the strategy or the approach to validation, I'm not going to ship this to prod for sure. I'm going to use a preview environment. So here we can see the pull request is building. And on every build, I get these preview environments from Vercel. I'm going to use one of those whenever it's done. And I'm going to go look at the store page over there. If it's here, if it's in the next like minute, I'll go ahead and take a look. Thanks for being here. We're wrapping up. Oh, it looks like I'll be able to maybe see a preview. Before I close out, make sure to check the YouTube. Link is in my bio. Okay, so the build failed, and it probably failed because no API key provided. So how do I fix that? I'll show you how I fix that, but I'm going to go ahead and take this offline. I go to the build, like the main page of all the builds. So is that under deployment? Click my face. All right, click your face. Here's the project. Excuse me. Then you have settings, and then you have environment variables. And so I created the new environment variable, but the build doesn't have it, and that's what errored. So it didn't error like contacting the API and getting like an authentication error. It literally errored going, oh, like I don't have this variable at all. So thanks for being here. See you next time.